Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto, and today guys we are taking another cheeky look at Cardano, specifically trying to answer that question of is it too late to get into Cardano and can I buy ADA now and still make a return on my investment? Chris, this is something that we see a lot of recently during the comments and the live streams, and you don't want to give a bit of a spoiler and just kind of give away the gist of it?
Yeah, spoiler alert. Yeah, we think that it's still undervalued, obviously, for those of you that are already in the space and understand where it's going. But yeah, like the comments come up a lot, don't they, Nick? In on the videos and stuff like that. It has gone up quite a lot over the last few months, and I bought a bit in the dip today, and it didn't really feel like a normal purchase. It didn't feel like a normal dip to me because of the prices that I have been paying. Obviously, it wasn't a purchase for myself; it was a purchase for one of our viewers. But nonetheless, for me, it was quite painful purchasing, and I got it right at the bottom, Nick. It was a really good point to be buying.
It was textbook. But okay, so guys, what we're going to do is we're going to pull up the chart, we're going to go through what we see there, and then kind of give our thoughts as to why we think there is still time to get into this project. So as always, if you find this useful and informative, do go ahead and smash that like button. Chris really appreciates it, I really appreciate it, and I think the crypto sphere and Cheeky Crypto community really appreciate it too. And if you're new to the channel and not yet subscribed, do go ahead and subscribe. By subscribing, you will be kept up to date with all of the videos and live streams that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And with all that said, let's jump on over to the desktop, take a look at the Cardano to USD chart and see what we can see. Okay, so here we are on the Cardano to USD, and obviously I've got a Fibonacci retracement, okay, on this chart. This goes from a low level of the 24th of September and a high level up here at the 29th of December, okay? And then we had the breakthrough, and we started to go into the extension levels, which is everything that you see above the gray section just here. So I'm just going to zoom in a little bit to make this a little bit clearer for you guys so you can see exactly what we're talking about. Okay, so as Chris was kind of alluding to at the start of the video, as to why we found it quite painful, or he found it quite painful whilst he was making a purchase today. And that's because ultimately, back here in March, you were able to buy ADA for about 2 cents, right? It was incredibly lucrative. And obviously, as you started to gear up, you had it at 4 cents, 5 cents. And, I think on my cost averaging, Chris, I think I've cost averaging my ADA in at about 8.5 cents, something like that. So even to look at it at these levels, it's incredibly, it looks really expensive, but it doesn't mean that there is not an opportunity. You may be a little bit later to get on the bus, but the bus has still got a very long journey ahead. So let's take a look at some of these technicals, right? As I said before, we have the low level and the high level, and we obviously had everything that was happening in between. Now, I'm going to get the pencil out here so give you a bit of an idea of what we can see. To start with, we can obviously see that we have some key areas that were hit multiple times, right? So every time we have anything hitting that 50%, that 61 and that 38, those are really good indications. Likewise, we had a good resistance here, up at that 78% level, and we could see that was being played out multiple times, okay? So I'm just going to remove all of those so you can get a clearer picture. So ultimately, from a technical point of view, this Fibonacci was playing out pretty much as you would expect it to. And then obviously, as the things were gearing up, as things were rallying forward, we had the breakout, and that breakout basically meant a retest on the former high level, which you can see in that form of a wick right here. It's just underneath my blue line, so I'm just going to go ahead and move that out of the way for a second. And what I'm referring to is the wick just touching that level there. That's the same as the former high level that we are using in our Fibonacci retracement. So it's quite common that you have these retracements hitting key areas. Now I'm going to just move my blue line back because that is a trend line that we broke out of, so we want to have that as a reference point. So as we can see, there was lots of momentum pushing the price of ADA and ADA up higher and higher. We smashed through the very first extension level here at 26.8 cents. Okay, that was the first price target that we had according to our low level and our high level. That was the first one it was predicting mathematically. We obviously got past that pretty quickly within a couple of days, which is fantastic. Now yesterday when you're watching this video, that was 2 days ago. On the 6th of January, we had this massive green candle. This green candle in itself actually broke through that 1.61 fib extension level, as well as a resistance level at 28.5 cents and 31.5 cents. And also the wick at the top here also pierced through the 33.9 cent support and resistance line as well. Now, obviously pulling that back, it closed in that gap and there was lots of selling pressure, still trying to push it up, but unfortunately the volumes were going in the other direction. So what we saw here was a couple of things that are really interesting. And I'm going to go ahead and put a new horizontal line on just there, because we can see that those two wicks are exactly the same position, which means there's strong resistance in that particular zone. So we know there's a bit of a zone up here that we need to be monitoring. Looking further down, we can see that we came through. We actually went below this level here, which is the 31.5 support and resistance level. So that's quite a weak support by the looks of it, as in we went straight through it on the way up and straight through it on the way down. Now, we are obviously just below it currently, so I imagine that we'll eventually turn this red candle green for tomorrow or so forth. But we'll see how that plays out. For now, as Chris was alluding to, purchasing ADA today, he was able to get it exactly on this blue line. This is like the most perfect way of purchasing Cardano. So hats off to yourself, for Chris.
Complete fluke.
So ultimately, we come down and we bounced right off of this 28.5 support line. That's a really key important thing to bear in mind, because basically there's lots of buying pressure in that zone. And Chris was also there purchasing ADA as well. So, ultimately that's a key zone to be paying attention to. Now, we obviously were down there, so on the 7th of January there was a good buying opportunity to get back in at that zone. And anyone who is trading is potentially seeing that as a bit of a sell-off zone, and this is a purchasing zone. If you're not into trading, that was just a good buying zone down here. Now, that's to say, ultimately we're still in that 30-odd cent level, and I would still be comfortable purchasing ADA at these levels as well, and I'm going to tell you why. Okay, so we have these extension levels on our Fibonacci, okay, which we spoke about already. We went past that first one at 1.618. The next level here is the 2.61, okay, and that comes in at 38.8 cents, okay, so that's this red line just here. And then we go on to that 50.8 cents, and that's the 3.618, okay, and then at the top we have our 4.236 level. This comes in at 58 cents, okay. Now, if you're buying it at, as Chris was earlier, I think 28 cents, then, we're still looking at, a minimum really of this kind of area for 2021 at 58 cents at some point, at least in our opinion. So I still have a gut feeling, Chris, and I think you're the same here, that ADA can potentially go up to, $5 or so. And that's my gut feeling. I haven't seen that in the technicals here, but knowing everything that's happening with the actual project, with Gogan, the smart contracts, everything else that's happening, with Celsius and all those other really fantastic things, I feel that this thing is just going to get so much more momentum as it carries on through the year. So my gut's telling me that, there's this higher target beyond the Fibonacci's price targets as well. So the other thing to bear in mind, guys, this is a relatively short period of time for that Fibonacci. If we look at it from a bigger macro level and pull the low level all the way to March, right, we'll keep our high level where it is, because I think that makes the most amount of sense for that breakout that we've just seen. This also gives us new price targets. It goes in and shows us a 75 cent level, right? And that should be relatively comfortable. And we can see that we only really just broke above our first extension level, if this were the case, right? And that was the 30.1 cent level. So ultimately, I'm pretty comfortable with ADA in these levels. I think if it's below $1, I'm pretty comfortable with it, Chris. It seems a bit painful because ultimately, we're spending more money on, in essence, the same tokens. But if you dollar cost average this thing out over time, from your 2 cent purchases all the way through to your $1 purchases, ultimately, it will average out relatively well for you. So I still think there's plenty of time in ADA to get involved. I think anything up to the point where Gogan goes live is fair game, in my opinion, because I'm seeing once Gogan goes live, those smart contracts, the ERC20 converter, Ethereum virtual machine, the KEVM, BPM, all of that good stuff happening for Cardano is going to basically push this thing to all ridiculous time highs. I think 2021 is going to be the year for Cardano. So I'm incredibly bullish on this project. I'm more than happy purchasing anything below $1 at this point. And, you know, yeah, anything you want to add, Chris?
No, I'm going to lose my voice now. I've been talking for just over an hour. But yeah, like for me, I think the $2 to $5 range is kind of where I see this 2021 with everything that you just spoke about, Nick, really. You know, obviously you're not seeing that in the technicals just yet. But, you know, we need to see those steps first, don't we, really?
Absolutely. So guys, if you found this video useful and informative, do go ahead and smash that like button for Chris. He really appreciates it, as do I. And if you're new to the channel and not yet subscribed, do go ahead and subscribe to the channel. By being a subscriber, you will be kept up to date with all of the videos and live streams that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And with all that said, we hope you have a fantastic day, guys, and we'll catch you all in the next one.
Yeah, take care.